Now, I just said I'd do a run of the 4 blueprint cars in the McLaren SLR Unleashed event. Now, one thing that does kind of suck in this Unleashed event, sadly, is the star rating gate that they've put onto the Epic Import part from the Unleashed portion. And also, that star rating gate also extends into the solo rewards for the actual the contest at the end. So there's no the fact that anytime you see those star ratings covering a certain thing, like even if you were to achieve that time, if you didn't have the 3-star rating which is next to it, if you had the 127 time, you wouldn't get those rewards. So yeah, it's just a case of trying to push people to buy some extra blueprints rather than just nail those times. But these ones, yep, like 123, 120, 118 and 117 in these cars. Now, one of the issues that I'm going to have is the fact that here, this is going to be less of an issue from me with the, kind of very, very tuned up versions of these cars that I have. But at the same time, I'll give a run through each one of the stages and kind of show the best routes to take using the Porsche, the Ferrari, the SCG, and that Grand Sport. Now, so we need 123 here in the Porsche 911. And yeah, that Mercedes-Benz SLR is pretty strange as a car. Like, it's not exactly incredibly fast or accelerate well or have great handling. But one thing about it is, it appears as a support car in quite a lot of different events. Usually kind of in the starting phases or the mid-range portions even of some of the special events and some of the other kind of car events. So it's one that I would definitely advise chasing down the blueprints for it as much as possible. Maybe not going so far as to actually spend tokens on, unless you're at a point where spending tokens can earn you some extra ones, say from the Unleashed contest. But yeah, it's a strange car just in terms of how it handles. But I mean, you've got the trial version of it in the first stage of this event, so I would definitely give a look at that and kind of see how you find it handling there, because I have it up to the 3rd star now, I believe it is, maxed out, and yeah, it doesn't exactly change a whole pile. So that's kind of the same with a lot of cars in this game. So if it's not really to your liking at 1 star, I wouldn't go crazy with unlocking it, outside of obviously get all of the free blueprints you can using the support cars that you've already unlocked for this event. Just going to use the blue nitro here to run across this dust patches. And there are quite a few people go through the jump down the left hand side there, but I always find that one just the tiniest bit easier. And yeah, with this car, especially with my tuning rating, I should have a couple of seconds spare on that 123 time. Again, if you're cut out for time and this one, yeah, maybe consider going the downward path on that. But like I say, again, I'm 4 seconds to spare there. Like, even with any tuned version of the car, taking that path should be okay. And that's still with some fairly heavy AI knocking taking into account as well. Now, so the Ferrari 488 requires a 120 even time. This is a really nice support car. It's like, of the Ferraris, it's strange to see like a low class Ferrari, but yeah, this one's definitely like, where it doesn't exactly have the speed, this 488 definitely has like the handling and acceleration to match some of its heavier ranked brothers. Especially at the higher tuned version that I've, like I said, again, I've got this car maxed with just missing some of the import pieces and all of the epic import pieces. I don't think I've got them equipped on this one. But yeah, it's well capable of knocking out this time, or greater than this time. You can land here on the left path, by the way, you get a better time. Just because of the fact that it lines up this long straight kind of better with that left path, because it just leaves the car pointing in the right direction. So you go in a bit slower and come out a whole lot faster. But like, yeah, this Rome Tiber River course one isn't exactly like, there isn't a whole lot of variation between all the cars. It's just going to be a case of like, yeah, pretty much for all of these, they're going to take it across the dust patch, just because of the fact that like all of these support cars have nitro to spare, so they're well able to clear that dust in blue nitro state without having to go to the bother of ducking down underneath. And yeah, like while this car is 3.3k rating, that's still doing with like 6.5 seconds to spare. So easy blueprint to be picked up there again from nearly any rating version of that Ferrari 488 should manage it. Now, and needing a 118 in the SCG. Again, my version of this car is fairly crazily tuned, just missing the epic import parts from being installed again. I never actually bothered to put them in after that car hunt riot for this. But yeah, the SCG is a slightly stranger one than the rest of them because this is the only car that kind of focuses on heavy like top speed but very poor kind of drifting abilities really. So just kind of take this car a little bit less lively and kind of wildly on cornering, and you should do a lot better here with it. He's a double tapping nitro there to get that AI away from me at the start. Pretty much always skim down here along those two ramps and then aim for this left jump just to get the car kind of heading towards the first track selection portion of this. Like I say, go off to the left hand side again here and then swing the car around. It'll point you towards this long straight where you'll definitely be able to keep the car at a higher speed than if you kind of go straight on the first portion. Because straight on the first portion will always mean that you've got a kind of harder turn to take in the middle. It's very important in Asphalt always to like be more considering the speed coming out of corners than the speed you go into a corner, because like that's the speed you're going to be taking down the straight that follows any of these corners. So again here, as much as this car has less nitro ability, should still be more than enough at my rating of the car to skim over that dust. If you've got it lesser tuned and you're missing out on the enough nitro to basically be able to clear that patch of dust there, just yeah, take the car a bit further on that pathway to where you can drop down and then spring over the dusty area completely. So that's 5.5 seconds, I want to say. Yeah, it's 5.5 seconds to spare off of the thing. So again, like 5 seconds worth of tuning in this game. I have a video on my channel about like how much tuning impacts the actual performance of cars, and it's showing the difference between a 3K and a 4K rating version of the Porsche 918. And yeah, the difference of the 1K rating between those cars makes little to no difference. I think it was a 3 seconds difference over like a 2-minute race. So yeah, 5 seconds difference here. This should be possible in like a well untuned version of SCG. And I get an excuse to drive my dream car around this course, which is getting that 115 time in the Grand Sport. Like, this car is definitely, I always mention it, but it is pretty much my favorite car in this entire game. Like with how it handles, as much as just a B-class car, and it doesn't have the top speed in the slightest. Just how you can throw it into a corner and like blast it out with nitro nearly every time. It really is cool, and it's one of those ones that car does change a bit through its tuning, because when you get the Grand Sport initially, it has okay tuning and for its nitro. But as you bring this towards the final tuning and bring it up to like a gold star car, then you'll find that the car just pretty much lives in nitro the entire time. Like it's almost more difficult to have this car not in a nitro state than to get it into a nitro one. Like 217 miles an hour in nitro at the same time isn't exactly amazing, but you know, it's just that car's ability to hang in that like 217 state pretty much all the time. Again, like throwing it back and forth into two corners there back to back, and just simple like ease to get it in enough nitro up for a shockwave. Yeah, 217 across all of this stuff. Can just take it out to imperfect around here just to boost that time up, really, for no reason other than just the ego boost. This thing is well clearing this track every time. 110, 111. Ooh, 111. But yeah, the Grand Sport taking that pathway, or like any variants of it, like I said, with that drop down on the left hand side, should have no real effort or troubles with getting the blueprint for the SLR using that car. As long as you've got the Grand Sport tuned up to even 1 star, you should be capable of getting that, because like Oh, it was a 1:17 time I was looking for. So yeah, you've got like nearly 6 seconds to spare there. So 2000 rating down based on that 918 run that I did, approximately. So you should be able to do this with nearly a base model version of the Grand Sport. Should be able to pull that off. And as for the epic import part though, so yeah, that epic import part though, that's like star rated and gated. So without having the actual 4-star version of that car, there's absolutely no point in me trying to run the SLR through that stage. Just because of the fact that yeah, it's like with that star gate that's there, you just can't get the reward unless you bring your car up to the 4-star. So that's just not going to happen, unfortunately. Now, if I do go and upgrade the SLR to the 4th star, when I finish grinding out all these, I'll be a little bit short, but I might open 1 or 2 packs and see if I can actually boost it up to the 4th star. And if I do that, I'll put up an epic import part run of the 4th-star McLaren, making a run of that. But otherwise, for this, I'm going to call it there on 4 blueprints. And yeah, guys, happy hunting those blueprints. Like I said, this SLR is one of those cars where definitely chase it down for its use in other events. Maybe not go crazy on tuning it up and stuff if you're like not really happy with how the car handles. Definitely, I'd say give it one test run at the 1 or 2 star rating and see if it's kind of worth your tokens investment, because it is fairly costly in how many blueprints it requires, and it's not exactly blisteringly fast. Definitely not the version I have, which is just 3 stars anyway. It still hasn't become any bit more useful than that really, really heavy version that you get in stock. But yeah, that's it for me, guys, for these. Sub button over my head. I really appreciate it if you give a click on that. Really need to be boosting the sub count. And yeah, my other videos up here and here. Hopefully you'll click on one of those if they appeal to you. Alright guys, happy hunting and drive safe.